Over 45,000 civilians have been displaced within the Vanni due to aerial bombardment and shelling by the Sri Lanka Army and Air Force since the middle of July 2008. The resumption of war, the limited access to the conflict areas that the government of Sri Lanka allows to international NGOs and UN agencies, and the embargo and severe restrictions that the government has placed on the transportation of essential items such as food, medicine, fuel, and construction materials required to build temporary shelters have created a humanitarian crisis in the Vanni. The actions of the government of Sri Lanka are causing severe difficulties for the people of the Northeast, who are trying to survive and eke out an existence in the most difficult time since the resumption of war. The ability of humanitarian organizations and UN agencies operating in the Vanni to provide humanitarian assistance to IDPs and other vulnerable populations has been greatly compromised by the government fuel quotas. The fuel shortages are affecting the hospital's ability to maintain ambulance services and run generators to maintain the cold chain for vaccines and other medicines, and also to power the operating theater. Additionally, children's education is also being negatively impacted. A safe environment for children in which they are able to be educated, a fundamental necessity for young people all over the world, does not exist for the children and young people of the Northeast. Due to the parents' fear of shelling and bombing, many parents are reluctant to send their children to school. Additionally, 28 schools and the students, teachers, and principals have been displaced within the Vanni. Classes are conducted under the trees and in temporary classrooms, which are constructed from locally available natural materials. However, the second-term school examinations for Kilinochchi and Mullaitivu districts, which were scheduled to take place on 21 July 2008, have been postponed indefinitely due to ongoing displacement. TRO is providing transportation, cooked meals, temporary shelters, water and sanitation facilities, and other non-food relief items to the IDPs. These activities are severely hampered by the limited supplies of fuel. Due to a lack of construction materials to build temporary shelters and toilets, most of the IDPs are living under trees, tarpaulins, or tents provided by international NGOs and TRO. But the reality is that there is so much more to be done and greater assistance is required. TRO UK is conducting an emergency appeal for funds so that our partners and implementing agencies in the Vanni can provide humanitarian assistance. These funds will be utilized to provide additional quantities of food, medicine, temporary shelter, and non-food relief items such as cooking utensils, mats for sleeping, and clothing. The work to be undertaken includes building 5,000 temporary shelters with water and sanitation facilities, which must be completed before the monsoon rains, the provision of supplementary and complementary locally available food items, identifying children, lactating mothers, and pregnant women in order to provide them with this appropriate food and special nutritional supplements, allocating funds for kerosene for the water pumps and diesel for the tractors that pull the water bowsers, identifying disabled, female-headed households and other vulnerable groups so that their needs may be met, providing educational facilities, extra catch-up evening classes, and other learning materials to the IDP children. The government of Sri Lanka is violating international human rights and humanitarian law in preventing humanitarian assistance and access to the internally displaced persons in the Vanni. TRO urges the international community to ensure that the government adheres to the provisions of the Geneva Conventions and allows access and humanitarian assistance into the Vanni. TRO urges the Tamil diaspora to donate funds to support TRO's vital work in the Vanni. Details of how you can support are available on the TRO UK website, www.troonline.net.